Urgent, Raiders fan! Look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Raiders predicted to trade Aiden O'Connell. During NFL draft, replace him with CFP QB Aiden O'Connell lost his shot at the starting quarterback job for the Las Vegas Raiders the day the franchise traded a third-round pick to the Seattle Seahawks for Geno Smith. And if the door to O'Connell's ascension remained cracked even a fraction following that transaction, the Raiders slammed it shut with a $75 million extension that locks up the 34-year-old Smith through the 2027 campaign. Now, based on reporting from Vic Taffer The Athletic and a prediction from Mo Moton of Bleacher Report, O'Connell could see his tenure in Las Vegas end completely at some point during the fast-approaching NFL Draft, which will be held between April 24-26 in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Essentially, the concept is that the Raiders will deal O'Connell during the proceedings and replace him on day 2 with either Jalen Milroe of Alabama or Quinn Ewers of Texas. Both quarterbacks recently earned the spotlight of college football's top platform, with Milroe competing in the college football playoff in 2023 and Ewers playing in the CFP last year. In 2 seasons, O'Connell has played well as a fill-in starter, throwing for 3,830 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions with a 62.6% completion rate, Moton wrote on Wednesday, April 16th. However, the Raiders have a mostly new coaching staff led by lead skipper Pete Carroll. Offensive coordinator Chip Kelly may want a more athletic quarterback room, which would jeopardize O'Connell's roster spot. O'Connell was a 4th-round pick 2 years ago and still has 2 seasons remaining on his $35 million contract. Given his level of play since joining the NFL and his general inexpensiveness, the Raiders shouldn't have much trouble finding a taker if they decide to trade O'Connell. However, his return isn't likely to be anything better than a Day 3 draft selection. Raiders trade down and load up on talent in 7th-round 2025 NFL mock draft. The Raiders trade down from 6th overall to stack up picks on day 2 in our mock draft just a week before the NFL draft. Preview 1 of 6 next, we are inching ever closer to the 2025 NFL draft, and things are heating up in the rumor mill. Mock drafts are coming out every day, and more players are being linked to the Las Vegas Raiders. In this mock draft, we take 2 approaches where we try to maximize our day 2 selections and focus on taking the best player available. With that in mind, let's jump into our first trade and our first selection of this latest edition of the Just Blog Baby 7-round mock draft. 12. Shedeur Sanders, QB Colorado. Acquired via trade with Dallas, as we mentioned in the opening paragraph, we are focusing on trading back in this draft, and we do so by trading the number 6 overall pick to the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for picks 12, 44, and 76. We were worried that Dallas would take some of the players on our board, but they opted for defensive tackle Mason Graham instead. With the 12th overall pick, we are unable to resist the urge to draft the potential franchise quarterback available in Colorado's Shedeur Sanders. There's been a lot of talk around Sanders in this draft cycle, with some projecting him to go as high as top 5 to the Giants or Browns, or as low as the late 20s to the Pittsburgh Steelers. In this mock, he goes 12th to Las Vegas, and we stash him behind Geno Smith to learn for a couple years before taking the reins. 37. Josh Simmons, OT Ohio State. Regardless of who the first-round pick was, we knew that strengthening the offensive line is still a major priority. Geno Smith is an excellent quarterback, but he needs to be protected, and an upgrade at right tackle is a great move here. So with the 37th overall pick, we select offensive tackle Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. Simmons measures in at 65 and 307 lbs and would have likely been a top 10 pick if it was not for a knee injury in October. However, he looks to be fully recovered and should be able to come in and push for a starting job straight away. If he is not able to win the right tackle job in camp, then he can certainly be used as a swing tackle until he is ready to take on one of the starting tackle positions. 51. Trevayon Henderson, RB, Ohio State, acquired via trade with New York Giants. As we mentioned at the top, we are focusing on trading down, and we do so once again by turning the 44th overall pick into picks 51 and 85 in a deal with the New York Giants. So with the 51st overall pick, we take one of the most explosive players in the draft in running Trevayon Henderson. Henderson was a 1,000-yard back with Ohio State this season and was one of the stars of the show at the NFL Combine. He is on the smaller side as a running back at 5'10 and 200 lbs, but is an explosive athlete with a 40 and vertical in the 90th percentile for his position. This is a deep running back class, and Henderson has a chance to be one of the best players. From a special group, 68. Darius Alexander, DT Toledo. We continue our mock draft with a focus on the defensive side of the ball with our next few picks. The first of them is the 68th overall pick on defensive tackle Darius Alexander from Toledo, who is one of the standout athletes from this draft class. Alexander is a load at 64 and 310 lbs and is an elite athlete at every level. He ran a 4.95, 40 at the Combine and showed off great numbers in the broad jump and vertical as well. The Toledo star is the prototypical defensive tackle from a physical perspective and should be a great fit alongside Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby on the defensive line. There are some concerns about his motor and pad level, but that can be addressed with coaching and an NFL-level conditioning program. He will also be able to rotate with a deep defensive line group to stay fresh late in games. 76. Barrett Carter, LB Clemson. Acquired via trade with Dallas. Our mock draft continues with another pick on the defensive side of the ball with a selection that we acquired via trade with the Dallas Cowboys as part of our move from 6 to 12 in the first round. Barrett Carter out of Clemson is an undersized but feisty linebacker that plays the position with a high level of physicality and passion. Linebacker is not an immediate need if the short-term free agents the Raiders signed pan out, but Carter projects as a starting Mike linebacker who can wreck an offense's run game. Carter is described as a heat-seeking missile in the run game by many scouts, and he brings great knowledge of the game along with his physicality. He is not the most accomplished pass defender, however, and will take some coaching up in that department, but can learn under the veterans until he is ready. One thing you can't coach is passion and desire, and Carter brings plenty of both to the football field. 85. Kevin Winston Jr., Penn State acquired via trade with New York Giants. Similar to linebacker, safety is not a massive position of need, thanks to some short-term free agents, but we use another of our picks acquired via trade to build up the defense. With the 85th overall pick, we select Kevin Winston Jr. out of Penn State, who is one of the most talented players in this class. Winston is a big safety at 62 and 205 lbs and would have been a much higher selection if he didn't tear his ACL in September against Bowling Green. He has all of the physical tools and was one of the best run-defending defensive backs in the country. Before his injury, Winston has a chance to come in and learn behind the veteran safeties in Las Vegas while contributing on special teams and could be ready to take on the starting role in 2026 and beyond. 108. Dorian Strong, CB Virginia Tech. We continue our focus on defense in the fourth round with another defensive back that brings a lot of physicality to the football field. Dorian Strong out of Virginia Tech measures in at 61 and 185 lbs and was a playmaker for the Hokies during his 5 years in Blacksburg. Strong recorded 5 interceptions between 2023 and 2024 and was downright dominant in coverage, allowing fewer than 10 receptions and 100 yards receiving this season, according to NFL Draft Buzz. This dominance is enough to make you look past some of the average measurables like 40 and vertical, as Strong uses his technique and smarts to make up for some of his physical deficiencies. 143. Pat Bryant, WR Illinois. We switch back to offense with our 5th round pick as we continue the search for an outside receiver to complement Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. We snag Pat Bryant out of Illinois with the 143rd overall pick and hope that he continues on his development path. Bryant has gotten better every year with the Illini, and he ended his college career with an excellent senior season. In 2024, he recorded 54 catches for 984 yards and 10 touchdowns as he led the Illini passing attack in all categories. This is a player that makes the most of his physical tools but uses craftiness and route running to get open versus raw physical ability. He has solid size at 62 and 200 bobs, but has average speed and explosiveness with a 4, 61-40 and a 37, 5-inch broad jump. Bryant won't blow anyone away with his speed, but he is a crafty route runner that knows how to use leverage and footwork to get open. He is also credited by scouts for his contested catch ability and run after the catch skills, which would be a great addition to a talented Raiders offense. 180. Jake Majors, OC, Texas. We get back to the big boys up front with our 6th round picks, and we use the 180th overall selection on a smart and athletic player that can develop into a depth piece for the Raiders. Jake Majors measures in at 63 and 306 labs and is an explosive athlete, which he showed off with a 5, a 0, 40, and a 36. 5-inch vertical, which puts him in the 100th percentile for his position. Majors is known for being an elite pass protector and a genius-level processor when it comes to reading defenses. Where he struggles, though, is in the run game, as scouts feel he doesn't have the raw power to move the big bodies in the NFL. Perhaps if he gets involved with an NFL strength and conditioning program, he can build that strength on top of an already incredible foundation. Majors is a bit of a project player, but he can take his time learning and developing before being called on for real game action. 213. Luke Lachey, TE, Iowa. If Penn State is linebacker U and LSU is defensive back U, then Iowa is tight end U when it comes to producing high-level NFL players at the position. In recent years, Iowa has pumped out tight ends like Noah Fant, George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, and Sam Laporta, who have all had excellent careers in the pros. With the 203rd overall pick, we gamble on another Iowa tight end in Luke Lachey, who has elite size at 66 and 250 lobes and solid athletic measurables, which he displayed at the 2025 NFL Combine. He has soft hands and is excellent at contested catches, which he showed off primarily in 2022 with a 400-yard and 4-touchdown campaign. Lachey had an injury-shortened 2023 season and didn't reach those same heights in 2024, but he has the physical tools and makeup to contribute at the NFL level. He also has strong NFL bloodlines thanks to his dad, former All-Pro offensive tackle Jim Lachey, who starred for Washington in the late 80s and 90s. 215. Josh Preby, OG, Michigan. As we move into the 7th round, we turn our focus back to the offensive. Line and grab, another unheralded player with great mental traits, but lacking a bit in the physical tools. Michigan guard Josh Preby is our pick here, and the 6'5", 306 LB lineman is ready to bring his elite run blocking to the NFL. The Raiders' offensive line is a bit in flux, and it appears that GM John Spytek is making most of the positions an open competition, including the center and guard positions where Jackson Powers Johnson excelled last season. Preby can come in and compete right away for one of the guard spots, which he did at Michigan in 2024 after a great career at Northwestern. Preby is an older prospect at 24, but he has 30 starts under his belt for 2 tough and physical teams that know how to play to the whistle. Scouts rave about his competitiveness and toughness that helps him overcome some of his athletic limitations. Those are 2 traits we love to see in Las Vegas. 222. Barron Sorrell, Edge LB, Texas. We end our draft with a player that has high physical upside and great traits, but also had a productive college career. Barron Sorrell measures in at 63 and 250 LBS and put up solid numbers at the Combine, including 28 reps on the bench press and a 4, 68-40. Sorrell racked up 16 sacks over the last 3 years on a stout Texas defense that was a fixture in the college football playoff. He is a day 3 pick thanks to his tweener size, but plays with the relentless motor that you can't coach. His versatility is going to be the key to his success, as he can rush the passer with his hand in the dirt, but can also stand up and play outside. Linebacker. The Louisiana native is not an explosive athlete, which limits his potential, but he has the mental aptitude and football IQ to make up for those limitations. Sorrell projects as a rotational defensive lineman that can make a huge difference. When given the opportunity, pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Raider Nation news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Last-ditch trade idea has Raiders. Land Speedy Jets beat the Las Vegas Raiders made a crucial mistake last offseason when they let running back Josh Jacobs leave in free agency without a contract. The thinking was that Zamir White had shown enough to be a bell cow back, but it turns out that he was not up to the task. As a result, the team averaged the least amount of rushing yards per game in the NFL last season, which severely inhibited their chances of winning each week. With the number 6 pick in this year's NFL draft, Many feel that the team should address the running back position by taking Boise State's Ashton Jeanty. Some would argue that because it is a deep class, the Raiders should hold off on Jeanty and wait to select a running back until the middle or later rounds. However, Sports Illustrated's Connor Orr had a different idea altogether. Day 3, if you still haven't gotten that running back, why don't you be the ones to trade for Breece Hall? Asked Orr. Hall has spent his entire 3-year NFL career with the New York Jets and will be going into the final year of his rookie deal this season. The Raiders could certainly use a player of his caliber, as he's never contributed less than 1,350 all-purpose yards and 8 touchdowns in a fully healthy season. Las Vegas added Raheem Mostert this offseason, but he is not equipped to carry the load at this point in his career. Hall could be a great piece for Coach Pete Carroll and the offense if they cannot find a suitable player in the draft. And now, Raiders fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know. If you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Raiders. I'll be back any moment with more Raider Nation news.